find one. Your agenda is important because you have a number on your agenda, and that's going to be a section that you're going to break out into at a later time. Please come and fill in some seats. We have coffee and refreshments in the back of the room, so please make yourself comfortable. Restrooms are immediately behind this area through either of the doors if you need to self-care. So again, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm Kim Lewis, the President and CEO of United Way. We could not be more excited today to talk with the community about this wonderful gift that's been given to United Way for us to steward on behalf of our homeless families. So we're going to give you all sorts of insight. We're going to seek your ideas, and I think we can all agree there's no place like home. I was trying to think of some inspirational quote, but as our intern Meta said, there's really no place like home, and it's true. Dorothy knew what she was talking about a gazillion years ago, and when we're talking about family homelessness, I can think of nothing more important to kind of frame our conversation today. A couple of facts that we already know. We're not here to find what's wrong with our homeless population or what's wrong with our housing circumstances. We know we have got some extreme deficits. We're here today to hopefully come up with some additional solutions of how the dollars that we've been given that we could steward into the community to make a difference. But we do know that about 12% of Yellowstone County families are living below federal poverty limit. It's about 20,000 individuals, or a little over 4,000 families. That's significant, and that's not okay in our community. And I think what we're most excited about is this grant really helps us focus on families. Also, School District 2 reports that they've identified about 600 homeless families. When we've done a point-in-time survey through Continuum of Care, they average between 300 to 500 homeless families. So we know there is a lot out there and a lot of need. We are the largest population in Montana that is addressing the homeless community and trying our best to serve a very large population, and probably that need's not going to go away as the economy and other circumstances continue to have major influences on us. So we are glad you're here. We try to invite as many people as we could think of. So by show of hands, I want you to raise your hand every time I might call something that you affiliate with, and I just want you guys to be able to look around and see how many concerned and interested and committed people we have in our community to this cause. So first of all, how many people are possibly representing the education sector? Raise your hand. What about the housing sector, either the nonprofit or for-profit? Great. Or sheltering? What about healthcare? What about our board of directors? Or other United Way volunteers that serve on a committee? Thank you all. What about treatment? Treatment facilities, great. Crisis services, government. Are you a concerned community member? We should all be raising our hands, right? Do you represent a business? All right. What about prevention services? What about the faith community? Veterans? Anybody representing our Native American populations and the work that we do there? So you can see we have a lot of interested people, and we're, again, just so glad you're here. So you've all received an agenda, and so what we're going to do today is really give you some highlights of this grant and highlights of what we are hoping to accomplish today. We know we're not going to walk out of here with an absolute solidified plan of attack, but this is our first start. And we would be the first to acknowledge we don't know what we don't know. That's why we bring together experts such as yourself to provide some insight and ideas. And that's going to happen when we do our breakouts here in just a few minutes. So what I want to first talk about, we've had lots of questions. How the heck did you guys get this grant? What happened? Did you apply for it? Did you not? Well, about 2 months ago, I got an email that quite frankly looked like a phishing scam that said we had been identified by a national housing authority to receive a gift from the Bezos Day One Family Fund, and if we wanted to pursue this opportunity, please click here. I didn't click on it because I thought our IT person Brenda has taught me so well not to click on anything that looks like it might be fishy. So I sat on it for a day, and then we got a follow-up email the next day, and I thought, this is way too good to be true. What? I mean, all of us that work in fund development or government funding know that grants like this and gifts like this just don't always fall from the heavens or in your lap, but this one in fact did. So we did not pursue this. We also had to immediately sign NDO. I couldn't even tell our board of directors what was happening until the day of the announcement that this was going to be an opportunity for United Way. So this last round of granting that came from the Bezos Day One Family Fund, we were one of 38 awarded. This is their 6th round of randomly looking at communities that have significantly growing needs for family homelessness. And we're the only United Way so far ever, which is really exciting. Woohoo! So we get to set the standard, hopefully, for future United Ways that will also get to model and steward some dollars in their communities. I wanted to read a quote that came in an email the day that we announced this grant opportunity that came from Jeff Bezos. And it says, "Your organization is a pillar of hope in the community, bringing together public and private partners to address rising homelessness and help those who live on the margins of society achieve a better quality of life. I hope this grant helps you and your partners expand your capacity to identify, shelter, and rehouse families at this critical time." And that pretty much sums it up. That's really why we're here today. So let's talk about the $2.5 million and what the parameters of the grant are. $2 million will be reinvested into the community per their funding agreement with us. $500,000 will stay with United Way for our existing programs and administration, particularly focused around crisis stabilization. We have 5 years to spend this grant per the grant agreement. That is not our expectation. When we had our initial board meeting to review this opportunity, we don't want to rush into anything, but we also don't want to sit on it. So our goal is at a maximum to have 18 months, but we'd like to get it out and about sooner. But we want to make sure we do our due diligence and make the right choices. A frequently asked question that I've had a lot is, what are you going to do with the interest? The board, at the recommendation of our finance committee, moved that the interest will be reinvested to this fund. So it will all continue to pay itself forward in the pot of money of the $2 million for our community. Our board of directors will be appointing an advisory task force, advisory task group of some sort that will most likely be spearheaded by our community impact committee that's already in existence on our board. Doesn't mean that they are making the absolute final decision. Lots of input's going to be made from the public too, but we do need to have some sort of an advisory board and oversight to make sure that we're doing everything the grant requires us and that our board has the appropriate fiduciary oversight. We will maybe, depending how some of this conversation goes today, end up having additional convenings and or breakout work groups as some of the need or opportunities present themselves. The other beauty of this grant, though, is truly a no strings attached grant. It's phenomenal that we actually conducted all of our business with these folks via email. One of the easiest grants ever to get. We don't have significant reporting requirements. As long as always it is being used to serve homeless families, either in prevention, diversion, or actual housing structures themselves. There are 5 areas of focus of the grant. Dean's going to talk about that a little bit more, but it's outreach, diversion funds, shelter, rehousing, and support services. And quite frankly, any one of those could use the $2 million and use it in a heartbeat. $2.5 million is a lot of money, but we also know that it's not that much money when we're talking about housing and the number of people that we're hoping to serve. So that's one of the reasons why we brought you here today, right? We want to figure out what other opportunities do we have? How might we be able to leverage some existing partnerships, new ideas? So I know most of you know about United Way, but I've got to toot our horn a little bit. This grant really falls into our pillar of crisis stabilization. This is not a new venture that United Way is going down. This is just a different opportunity for us to steward these funds. Everything we do is traditionally done through fundraising and re-granting and reinvesting in our community to some of our highest priority needs through our partner agencies. We also run some of our own programs to stabilize and support families, whether it be Montana 211, some of our initiatives around school readiness to get a kiddo ready for school, ready to read, ready to learn, food groups, all sorts of stuff, a lot of downstream work. And then the last piece of our pie is what we do at our coalition level, which is much like this United to Solve Homelessness might feel like just in a temporary instance, but we've had considerable involvement with Substance Abuse Connect, Continuum of Care, and Best Beginnings Coalition, but we also recognize that there's more than 25 coalitions doing amazing things in our community, so we are just one little piece of this entire puzzle as we try to solve and promote homelessness and awareness. So we will continue doing the work that we do. This grant does nothing to change the need of how we're currently serving the community. As a matter of fact, it allows us to raise more awareness collectively on behalf of our partner agencies and other organizations that are already doing such a great job serving the homeless population. We will probably continue doing poverty simulations. Anything else that will bring that awareness or convening together so that we can be a part of solutions together. We've been around for 62 years. Most of you know United Way and we've been supporters of ours in some way, shape, or form. But what we really wanted to do right at this moment, like I mentioned, this is just one piece of the puzzle. Continuum of Care really are our experts and the leaders in our community leading the efforts for things related to the unhoused. And so if you're a Continuum of Care partner agency or member, would you raise your hand? We've got a number of you all represented throughout the room. Most of you probably know that Continuum of Care started in 2017, and Kristen Lundgren, who was on our staff at the time, was an amazing integral partner in establishing Yellowstone County's Continuum of Care. And it also would not have been possible without Patty Webster and Homefront. Is Patty here? I just want to give her a shout out. No? Okay, we're giving her a shout out in spirit. And Erica Willis from Tumbleweed and Tess Besaw. Those were really the original visionaries to get Continuum of Care really established the way we know it now. We added a coordinated entry system in 2018. We have developed structures, strategic plans. The Continuum of Care now has a board of directors, and they are independent and recognized as a leader in our community in the housing realm. United Way continues to backbone and support that organization and serve as the fiscal sponsor. So we really wanted to give that shout out. It's important because it doesn't mean we're going to direct all of our funds to Continuum of Care, but we hope our partners at Continuum of Care see where they fit in part of this grant and how we will be able to continue to work together. I think at the end of the day, what we're really talking about, though, is collaboration. And that's important, whether we're representing a nonprofit, government, our own business, or any of those other entities that we mentioned. The need is so terrific. So we're going to put you to work for us and help us decide at least on some of the initial efforts that we're going to make in exploring opportunities. So I'm going to invite Dean up to lead us through specifically what the Day One Family Fund is asking us to do, and then kick off the first activity. Thanks, Dean.